Since 2005, a special community has gathered at regular intervals. Historians, collectors, magicians, archivists, librarians, curators, and passionate enthusiasts meet every 2 years at the European Magic History Conference EMHC to explore and convey the history of magic. What began as an initiative by a group of French magicians has evolved over the past 2 decades into an international forum of high scholarly reputation. The first EMHC was held from June 10 to 12, 2005 in Paris. Key organizers included Jacques Voynier, Pierre Albanese, Pascal Friot, Florence Goya, and Georges Naudet. Their commitment laid the foundation for a European movement that continues to this day, dedicated to the systematic cultural and historical research of magic. Although European magic historians have been meeting regularly since 2005, it is important to recognize that such gatherings actually date back to 1976, when historian meetings were already being held with international guests. The idea for these earlier events came from British scholar and amateur magician Edwin Dawes, Peter Warlock, and Peter Lane organised the Collectors' Day in London, which continued until today. To celebrate the 200th birthday of Jean Eugene Robert Houdin, the Club des Magiciens Collectionneurs hosted the first European Congress on Magic History, Collecting, and Magic in Paris, with about 100 attendees. The event was expertly organised by Jacques Fournier and his team. The programme included 8 lectures, museum visits, exhibitions, an auction, magic shows, film screenings, and dinners. Highlights included John Gorn's talk on automata and an evening aboard the theatre boat Metamorphosis. The recent Collectors' Congress in Berlin, following the inaugural event in Paris, highlighted the growing importance of conjuring history in Europe. Professionally organised by Peter Schuster and academically rich, the Congress featured sessions, lectures on figures like Conradi Horster, Hanneson, and Hofzinser, and topics ranging from Enlightenment-era magic to historical apparatus. Highlights included a variety show, close-up performances, and a guided visit to the Westcar Papyrus. With all venues nearby and a spirit of international collaboration, the event set a new benchmark for future congresses in the field. In September 2009, the Third European Congress on Magic History and Collections gathered around 100 enthusiasts in Vienna, focusing not on illusions, but on the deeper roots and cultural meaning of magic. Organised by Magic Christian and the Magic Club of Vienna, the event featured lectures in the Natural History Museum, excursions to cultural landmarks, and social gatherings in historic venues. Honouring Ilse Puller, granddaughter of Arto Carl Fischer, the Congress bridged past and present, reinforcing Vienna's role as a worthy successor to Paris and Berlin. The 4th European Magic History Conference took place in 2011 at the Magic Circle in London, excellently organised by Fergus Roy. Around 100 participants enjoyed 19 scholarly lectures, including talks on Iona, Carl Fulves, the Lota vase, and visual histories of classic tricks. Social highlights included receptions at the Savage Club and at Covent Garden Hotel, as well as gala performances featuring Richard McDougall and Romany. A final visit to the Hackney Empire, with Paul Keeve presenting archival material, rounded out the event. From August 28 to 31, 2013, Hamburg hosted the 5th European Magic History and Collectors Conference EMHC, curated by Wittiswit, who also introduced the now standard EMHC logo. Held in the Mirror Hall of the Museum of Arts and Crafts, the event set new benchmarks in both content and organisation. Hamburg's historic role as a 19th century centre for magical apparatus through firms like Bartel and Willmann was reflected in the city's Speicherstadt district. The conference featured 22 illustrated lectures on topics ranging from iconic props, mechanical devices, and early imagery to neuroscience, stagecraft, and archival discoveries. Highlights included William Kalish on Houdini's German legacy and Ungooden about Maskelyne and Cook. Edwin A. Dawes was honoured as the event's first official guest of honour. Participants received a gift bag with a programme book, DVD, playing cards, historical facsimiles, and a Frido Marvelli biography. Exhibitions, city tours, a Hansa theatre visit, and the Hamburg Magic Nights completed the experience. Ten years after the first EMHC, the 2015 conference returned to Paris under the direction of Jacques Voignet, held at the historic theatre of the Conservatoire National Supérieur d'Art Dramatique, on the very site where Panetti once performed for Louis XVI. The programme featured lectures by Fergus Roy, Will Goldston, Bill Spooner Del Rey, Bill Kalish Card Techniques, Marco Pastella Negative Publicity, and Magic Christian Kalinag's post-war activities, among others. A highlight was the private viewing of Borch's Rarely Seen the Conjurer, along with rare photos of Benita Anguinette and her theatre. At the Musée de la Magie, Jacques and François Voignet and Gaëtan Blum presented unique collector's items. Further talks covered Louis XVI spectacles, Beauty de Culte, spiritistic levitations, French fairground theatre, and magic during World War I. A gala evening featured Gaëtan Blum, Jean-Jacques Sanvet, and a Mélis Cine concert with live accompaniment by his great-grandson Lawrence Lehersey, attended by Anne-Marie Quevrin. A special visit to the Musée des Arts Forains included rare archive access and a ride on the antique carousel, an experience not even granted to Woody Allen during the filming of Midnight in Paris. The 7th European Magic History Conference, held in Turin, brought together nearly 100 participants and stood out as one of the most engaging editions. Curated by Marco Pastella and hosted by the Circolo Amici della Moggia, the event combined academic depth with warm hospitality. Highlights included interviews with Sylvan and Arturo Brachetti, who spoke on quick change performance. Lectures covered figures like Frido Marvelli and Emil Chio, as well as topics such as ancient deception and iconic illusions. Evening shows, museum visits, and tributes to Vanni Bossi and Gianni Posqua added depth to a well-rounded and culturally rich program. For the second time, Vienna served as the meeting place of the EMHC. A highlight was Magic Christian's presentation of a recently rediscovered, pristine portrait of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. Several talks emphasized the value of private collections, books, posters, props, or pins as vital sources for understanding magic's history and cultural significance. A forthcoming bibliography of German-language magic literature and the family chronicle of a historic magic dealership showed how research and documentation can enrich the field. The closing panel addressed the future of collections. What happens when collectors pass away? Without documentation or institutional support, much knowledge may vanish. Proposed solutions included digital archiving and shared curatorship. The social program featured dinners and shows in historic Viennese venues, including a city hall reception where the council chamber briefly became a close-up stage. After the cancelled 2021 London event due to COVID-19, the European Magic History Conference returned in 2023, this time in Ghent, curated by Kobe van Herwegen. The sold-out 4-day event hosted 120 participants across 7 venues. Lectures were held at Hotel Monasterium's historic St. Albertinus Church, while the House of Mysteries hosted registration, a magic quiz, and the closing reception. A special exhibition focused on quick change artist Fragoli, with rare items from Jack Cooper's collection. Social highlights included a city hall reception, a museum courtyard barbecue, a gala dinner, and a canal cruise. The Friday quiz saw international teams compete, with the US team John Goran, Charles Green III, Steve Beam, Mike Kavanagh, Jim Hagee winning first place. Performances included a Laterna Magica show and a gala at the Menard Theatre, presented with Mystery Lab and the Universities of Antwerp and Ghent. Their joint research inspired the book Magical Menard. In total, 20 lectures formed the core of the programme.